Number 7 from your rational functions study guide. The first thing I want to say is that, oops, this is not supposed to be a squared, it's supposed to be a cubed. I did say that in class, and I think I fixed the one that's online, so hopefully you have that down. Now the first step in this, if it's written correctly, is to make sure everything's factored. So the top's already factored, which gives me x minus 3. The bottom is x. If I pull the x out, I get x squared minus 25, which factors to x minus 5 times x plus 5, because it's difference of two squares. So to get my zeros, I go ahead and see what makes the top of the fraction 0. Well, x equal to 3 does. For my vertical asymptotes, I look at what makes the bottom equal to 0. Well, 0, comma 5, comma negative 5, and that's why I factor. I'll make it equal to 0. We've talked about how the bottom of this thing grows faster than the top. It's an x cubed competing with an x squared. So I get a number that gets big over a number that gets a whole lot bigger. So my horizontal asymptote is the x-axis. And my y-intercept is, usually I just plug in 0 to find the y-intercept. This one, if I plug in 0, notice we get a 0 in the bottom of the fraction, which means that it's undefined. And I get an asymptote, which is what we wrote right here. Since I have an asymptote, then the y-intercept just does not exist. You can write dne, you can write na. And we've not talked about holes, so there's nothing to worry about there. Alright, so from here, I can take this information, sketch my grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put vertical dotted lines where my vertical asymptotes are. Kind of make that a little wavy so you can sort of see it. And then, oh, come on. Blank, 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 blank. Good enough there. Alright, so I put all those guys in, and I also put my 0 in, which means I put a dot right here. From here, I go ahead and test each of my values. I use a table. I look at my x and my y. I might do the first two and then just tell you what the rest of them are. Let's talk about my regions actually first. I've got a region here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So my regions are left of the asymptote, between these two asymptotes, from the asymptote to the 0, 0 to the asymptote, and the asymptote and on. That's what those all are. That's why I have 5 of them. And all I need to do is really figure out whether it's positive or negative, and then fit the graph in based on all of these pieces that we put together. So when I plug in negative 6, and I do that because it's the first tick left of that guy, I get a negative in the top, I get a negative here, I get a negative here, and I get a negative here. So I have a total of 4 negatives, so it comes out to be positive, which means that the graph is going to look like this. When I plug in, next number I'm going to plug in is negative 1. I get a negative in the top. This is negative, but this is positive. So it actually comes out to be 3 negatives. So the negative, first two cancel, and then I'm left with 1. So this part of the graph looks like that. I'm going to test 1. You get that it's positive. I'm going to test 4. You should get that it's negative. And I'm going to test 6, and you should get that that is positive, which has me go like this, and then like this, and then like that. Hopefully you feel pretty good with these.